Wedding dresses can be made from very expensive fabrics. They often come with huge petticoats and loads of pressure, and this can make bridal alterations pretty terrifying for the bride and the dressmaker. So in this video, let's take some of the pressure off, and I'll show you step by step how to fit, pin, check, and sew a professional hem on a wedding dress. First, meet my lovely bride Jodie, who brought me her dress to have her hem adjusted. As usual, here's me scrabbling around on my knees, but watch to the end to discover my designer tips for a perfect hem, along with how to manage things like invisible thread and horsehair braid. I always ask my brides to lift their feet if they're standing on the hem. It's easily done if you've got lots of layers. Also, get mum comfortably seated on the sofa, because this pinning bit can take a while. Jodie's dress had a separate petticoat and then 5 other layers, so we're going to pin 1 layer at a time. I've asked her to stand up straight, and I start by pinning the innermost lining layer while she holds the other layers up. We'd already estimated roughly how much it needed to be shortened by, so this is an approximate pinning at the moment. To check if my pinning is right, I let down the second layer because it didn't need shortening, and then straighten the ruffles just roughly. This means Jodie can go for a walk to check the lining length before we start on the next layer. She wasn't tripping over, so down comes the next layer, the interlining, and I do the same again. I tend to use easy to use pins on my pin magnet for linings, and for all the layers I only pin the front of the dress because the train will be left long, so once the dress is on my sewing table, I'll graduate the new front length to meet the existing back length at the sides, so it's a nice graceful curve. And off we go again. Still looking good? Nod of approval from mum. The next layer is tulle, which can be a tricky customer. I can't pin it at the bottom as the pins would just fall out. So I pin a pleat further up in order to create the right length, and then when it comes to sewing it, I'd shorten the hem from the bottom by the amount I've pinned into the pleat. This is a handy tip for a very embellished or scalloped hem. Try pinning them in a pleat further up the dress so as not to disturb the delicate hem edge or embellishment, although do reassure your bride that you won't be sewing a chunky great pleat right across her dress in real life. You're just doing it to calculate the amount to be shortened. The last layer to come down is the top layer, so Jodie can finally let go, and I pin it to the rough length we estimated was needed. At this point, mums are usually ready to stretch their legs. In this instance, the length Jodie wanted off the hem was about the width of the horsehair braid, which we'll look at in a minute, so this made it easy to pin. I fluffed out the layers and Jodie had another walk. Now you can see from the angle of the camera she's not tripping, but the linings are hanging down a bit. So we discussed, did the top layer of fabric hem need to come down a bit, or did the linings need to come up? Jodie said linings up, mum said linings up, so we just repinned those layers. Much quicker this time, as the pins were already in there. Quick check that still no tripping. And bride and mum both felt happy with the hem. Once a bride leaves my studio, I always hang the dress up and inspect my pinning. If it needs evening up a bit, I do it straight away. I also have a close look at the styles of hem I'm dealing with before I take it to my sewing room. So here we are in my sewing room, and the first job is to unpick the horsehair braid, which is attached to the existing hem in 2 places. I start with the top of the braid and unpick the invisible thread. Now, invisible thread is just a clear plastic thread that you have to take your time over. Whether you're unpicking it or sewing with it, it's pretty strong and almost impossible to see, so I'd suggest you do this in good lighting and wear your glasses. Now you can see the horsehair braid more easily, and I'm just turning the dress around on my table so I can snip the threads, connecting the layers of the side seams, so I can adjust all the layers of the lining and the interlining separately. The next job is to unpick the horsehair braid from the raw edge of the hem, and to do this I normally start at a side seam, as it's just easier to get the unpicker under a bit of hem that has a seam going through it. Try and be gentle as you're unpicking and easing the layers apart. This video is speeded up so I look like I'm being rougher than I am, but I don't want the horsehair braid to stretch. Just keep going until you've got all the braid off the bit of hem you need to shorten. And once you've released the braid, you're ready to reposition it at the correct length and sew it back on. Before you do this, just check you have all the layers secured. Often there's a very sheer layer of something, in this case tulle, that I see I need to catch into the horsehair braid when I replace it, along with the top sparkly layer of fabric, so I pin them together to make sure it doesn't slip out. Next, I position the horsehair braid in its new position, measuring as I go and pinning it in place. With this style of hem, the braid sits about 1 centimetre below the line of pins I pinned at the fitting for the finished hem length, to allow for the hem allowance, so that when I turn the braid to the wrong side, the hem won't be too short. Now to the sewing bit, and the first task is threading the invisible thread in the machine and bobbin. It takes quite a bit of huffing and puffing, which I've edited out. Honestly, I find this thread so hard to use, but I really recommend persevering as the end result does look great. Fortunately, I have a built-in needle threader on my machine, which is useful as I can barely see the needle, let alone the thread. Anyway, finally we're ready. The first bit of sewing is to join the edges of the horsehair braid, where I've cut it to the correct length for the new hem. Now some dressmakers add a little bias binding over the join, but Jodie's fabric is quite transparent, so I didn't want it to show. So I've done one line of stitching, then snipped it fairly close to the stitch line, then folded it over to stop it sticking up or being scratchy, which it tends to be where it's been cut, and then top stitched it to keep it flat. Now I'm going to sew the braid back on at the correct height. I prefer to do this before I've cut off the unwanted seam allowance, just because I've been a dressmaker for over 25 years and I'm over cautious and I double check everything before I cut it. To sew it on, I just copy how it had been attached in the original manufactured dress, so this means a line of stitching close to the edge of the braid. Once that's done, and I've double checked I've sewn it on at the right length and captured both the sparkly and the tulle layers, I snip 1 centimetre away from the braid as it was on the original dress. I then just check it over before I move to the next stage. I work my way back to an existing bit of the hem so that I can check that there's a smooth graduation from the manufactured hem to what my hemmed bit looks like, so you shouldn't be able to tell any difference or see the join. And then I fold the braid over to the wrong side of the fabric and pin it in place ready for the final bit of stitching. Take your time with this to ensure the braid isn't too tight or too loose. It's pretty stretchy, so just go carefully and you'll get it to sit in a position you want. And lastly, just sew it in place with your invisible thread on your machine, as close to the edge of the braid as possible. Check it every now and then on the other side to ensure it's not bunching up. I find invisible thread can misbehave, so just keep an eye on it.
I love it.
Back in the studio, Jodie came to collect her dress and was delighted. The hem hovered just above the floor, which is exactly where she wanted it, and apart from being the right length for her, you couldn't tell anything had been done to it. Time for a final swish around the studio, try on the veil with it, and then it's ready. Thank you so much, Jodie, for letting me film the process and for kindly sharing some of your beautiful photos by Alex Buckland. I hope that was useful, and I'll see you in the next video.